the deep state operates in lockstep, right? So you have kind of the mainstream media, the banks, and the politicians, right? And they all operate together, right? So when you look at gold and silver prices, the banks suppress the prices, and they have been suppressing the prices on gold and especially silver for many, many years. And these banks, they go, yeah, sure, they might get a fine, a little slap on the wrist fine, but the politicians love them doing this because, gold took off to, 50 or $100,000 an ounce, which it never will. But let's say it did, based on the debt, based on the spending that these idiots are doing. What would that say about our money, right? So there is some interest from the politicians to suppress gold and silver prices because, of course, right, if they went up, people would start questioning them, right? And unfortunately, right, a lot of the fake news, all the fake news, really, the mainstream media, nothing becomes real in the financial system until it's admitted on MSNBC or Fox News or CNN, right? So, the government saying the inflation rate is 3%. It's not 3%. It's probably 25%.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's almost like people have to follow shows like yours, right? And some of these other I call them Patriot podcasts. You have to follow people like you guys in order to really understand what is going on behind the scenes. And it's not pretty. And I feel like people like you guys, what you're doing is you're putting the information out there so people can get ahead of the curve and make smart decisions before everybody else hears about it on MSNBC, on Fox News, on CNN, right? And I think that's sort of the advantage that this Patriot community has, is that we're getting the tip off ahead of time and we can take action before what hits the fan.
No, what is what?
Shit. Lots of it.
Lots of shit all over the place. So, what again though? So, what is going on behind the scenes that the general public is not aware of? Because the banking system, in my opinion, is about ready to collapse. But that's just my opinion.
In my view, I think the banking system is already bankrupt. That's my prediction, right? Evergrande, take Evergrande, that big company out of China, that major corporation. They announced bankruptcy 2 years ago, and then the media backtracked and said, oh, no, everything's fine. And then what do we see back in February? They finally admitted 2 years later that company is completely bankrupt and everybody was screwed. I think they're doing that with the banking system. I think the banking system's already screwed, and the banks have no reserve requirements. They've become more, they're less lenders, they're more servicers of contracts. You have quadrillions of dollars of derivatives out there, right? Debt just being passed around. And now with BRICS, why is BRICS relevant? You hear, BRICS. It's because all these dollars that have for decades used the dollar as their country's reserve currency, they're uprooting those dollars, and now they're moving into the gold-backed Chinese yuan, right? And that's where money intersects with energy, right? It's kind of an interesting topic to talk about. But to keep it simple, those dollars don't just disappear. They're going to flow back to the United States. So what we're going to start seeing here in the next couple of months is massive amounts of dollars flowing back into our system, and that's going to saturate our money supply. The next problem is, how is money created? You create treasury bonds in order to put money into existence. Well, no one wants treasury bonds. The only person buying treasury bonds is the Federal Reserve, right? So they're just keeping the system afloat by buying our own treasury bonds. No one wants them. And at a certain point, I think our currency is going to just drop like a rock. It's going to come from the value of the dollar, having even nothing to do with market crashes. People need to get their money into really what you're doing when you buy gold and silver. It's a currency conversion, right? You're just converting. You're not buying anything. You're converting to a better form of money, so that on the other side of this, whatever happens, right? I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not a guru, right? I can just tell you something's coming, and I think your audience would agree with that. I think what it is it's a bridge for your assets, whether that be cash in the bank, right? We also do gold and silver IRAs where you can take your retirement account, right? Turn that to physical gold, physical silver. Just get it out of this failing system and move it into the new system, right? Move it into something that people are going to, I think you're going to need a confidence builder on the other side, right? After a market collapse or whatever happens in the banks, people are going to lose trust between them and their banks, them and their government, right? And how do you build back that trust? You go back to a fundamental asset like gold, like silver, right? That's the type of thing that I think will get people, that will jumpstart the country in terms of a cohesive monetary system in the future.